mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Sigmund Freud. Many of you probably know Sigmund Freud from the psychology classes you took in high school or college. Many of you may also be cursing his name because you had to memorize all of his theories for a test you had to take. But underneath the basics you know about Sigmund Freud lies an even greater man. Sigmund Freud is the father of psychology. First, Freud was an intellectual. Second, Freud greatly influenced psychology. And third, Freud left a lasting legacy. Many of you may know the basics about Freud, but you may not know things like when he was born and how he started his career. First, Freud was an intellectual. Bio.com, that ties with National Geographic, gave me information about his early life and how he started his career in psychology. He was born May 6, 1856, to his parents Amelia and Jacob Freud. He had many siblings, but his mother named him the favorite and said he had intellectual brilliance from a young age. He got his degree in 1881 in Vienna, and that is where he practiced and lived for most of his life. He started out in the medical career, but eventually moved to the psychology career because that interested him more, and he was able to do work studies and observe people the way he wanted to. The basis of his beliefs were that the sex drive shapes our personalities. He was constantly coming up with ideas and never stopped coming up with theories. First, Freud is an intellectual. He never stopped working and always had people coming up with ideas with him. This led to his influence in psychology. Second, Freud greatly influenced psychology. An article by Kendra Cherry at About.com gave me information about his psychoanalytic theories. One of the first things he studied was that childhood affects who you are as an adult, and he came up with the unconscious mind tells you to do things you don't even know to your conscious mind. So your unconscious mind is telling you things that your conscious mind doesn't even know. Information from the NNDB, which is a database for you to go to learn about famous people, told me about his studies on the dreams, parts of the brain, and his oral, anal, and phallic stages. He wrote a book on dreams and tried to connect what people were dreaming about to their everyday life. He also studied parts of the brain and came up with the idea that we have a lot of different parts in our brain and we use them every day. His oral, anal, and phallic theory is basically how you become an adult. In your oral stage, you're fixated on your mouth. Your anal stage, you're fixated on your bowel movements. And your phallic stage is when you finally realize when you have to go to the bathroom or when you need to eat something. After these stages, you have a new social awareness, or you are basically an adult. Second, Freud greatly influenced psychology. His most popular theories are still used today, like the ones that you probably had to memorize for class. And this makes his legacy everlasting, because he keeps reappearing year after year. Third, Freud left a lasting legacy. George Dvorsky wrote an article on why Freud still matters today, even after all of these years that he's been gone. In George's words, Freud kindled a revolution. The terms that we use in psychology today a lot are coined from Freud. John Kilstrom quoted that Freud's influence on modern culture has been profound and long-lasting, which is obvious because we still learn about him in our psychology classes today. Some things Freud was right about was the unconscious mind, the mind having multiple parts, and his studies on the dreams that we have. It is true that the unconscious mind tells our conscious mind to do things without us knowing it. And it is also true that our brain has many different parts that we use every day. His studies on the dreams have helped psychologists today on their studies about what we dream about and how it connects to our everyday life. Freud died September 23, 1939, and left theories and great ideas behind. Third, Freud left a lasting legacy. Without Freud's ideas, we probably wouldn't have gone as far as we have today in psychology, and we wouldn't have learned as much as we have as well. Are you still cursing Freud for making you learn all of those theories for your class? I know I'm not. Freud gave me more passion for my love for psychology and made me want to research into it a lot more. Even without supporters, Freud kept going and never stopped his research at any point in time. To be great, you do not always have to be right, which I think directly reflects Freud because he wasn't always right, but he was always great. Sigmund Freud will forever be the father of psychology. First, Freud was an intellectual. Second, Freud greatly influenced psychology. And third, Freud left a lasting legacy.